Welcome, acolytes. Today I am reacting to Ultimate 7 review, the best RPG ever made. So this is about love and fantasies. Bah! Did he actually Ultimate? Oh, the Black Gate. I actually don't. Oh, correct. He told me. Yeah, no. This makes sense. Yeah. I actually got confused because I forgot that. I thought he makes a Final Fantasy VII video, but no, he actually mentioned to me that this is a Blackgate one. That I don't know this game, by the way. So there's that. And in the end of the day, let's just see what he has to say about it. And yes, Tifa, one of the freaking hottest characters in the fucking world. So there's that, acolytes. But let's just start and see what V has to say about this.
My dudes, get your lubes. Quick question, do you like RPGs? My dudes, get your lubes.
Okay.
Quick question, do you like RPGs? And do you like the ones where you just feel like you're walking down a hallway throughout the whole game? Or do you like the go anywhere, do anything, steal whatever you want, open world games where the NPCs have work and sleep schedules instead of just standing in the same spot for all eternity? For me, I like the open ones.
ねえ、日本のゲームに文句ある？そういえばさ、一番好きなゲームって FF7 じゃなかったっけ？
Yeah, it is. But over the years, I've
V, thank you. You know why. Thank you.
grown to appreciate games that focus a lot more on world building and immersion, and I wish that a lot of Japanese companies would do the same. This is one of the main reasons I started to lose interest in Final Fantasy games, as after I beat Final Fantasy X, I noticed that Square Enix decided to prioritize graphics instead of gameplay.
It's like a baby's toy.
I think that taking out the world map from the franchise was one of the worst decisions ever made. And I'm sorry, but Final Fantasy XV's open world was as deep as a puddle. But hey, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was a huge step in the right direction for JRPGs in general, as its open world wasn't that bad. But it lacks a ton of depth, as they just filled it up with Ubisoft-style towers and other garbage. On top.
By the way, I agree with him. I played it by a friend, bought it myself on Steam, but didn't touch it since then because I'm waiting until everything's released. And yes, he's correct. Final Fantasy 15 was, by the way, I think, from the spectacle, a good game, all in all. But Final Fantasy VII actually just ripped it apart. It wasn't even a challenge.
Top of that, most of the world's NPCs look completely out of place, like they were purchased off some Chinese Unreal Engine asset store. And they all just stand in the same spot the entire game. Hell, most of them don't even have dialogue. Another gripe I've had with JRPGs is that they still only show items as just shiny objects, instead of being fully modeled. Just take a look at how Bethesda does it. Or even Kingdom Come Deliverance. I mean, chests are okay, but can we please get some variety? Is it really that hard to have a sword laid out on top of a table or against the wall? Let's be real, this is just lazy world building and budget cuts. Take a look at the amount of freedom Skyrim has. And it's a game made in 2011, by the way. You can just pick up and move almost everything. You can kill whoever you want, steal everything from the lifeless buddy, and just fucking foos!
ねえ、前にも聞いたけど、本当に頭大丈夫？
Hey, sometimes it's just fun to foos some fools. So what's the
Thank you again.
excuse? Is it too hard to implement? Is that really a good enough answer to accept from companies like Ubisoft, who can't even bother to program NPCs to react to grenades in a damn Star Wars game? Well, I don't buy that shit, as we've had these features since back in the 90s. And I know it's been a while, so we're going back, my dudes. Now, I'm sure a lot of us growing up were Nintendo nerds or Sega simps, and we played whatever games our parents would buy us. But there was a different type of gamer, on a whole different level. The alpha nerds, PC enthusiasts. And while we were all collecting coins and Triforce pieces in our Ninja Turtle pajamas, these dudes were out fighting Hitler in Wolfenstein 3D, while gooning to pixelated baddies in Leisure Suit Larry. Now, while a lot of these games were awesome, this was the time period where Western RPGs started taking off, and there was one series that stood out more than the rest, and it's called Ultima. The Ultima series was released by Origin Systems, which was created by Richard Garriott, and with each title released, the graphics and gameplay got better and better, until finally ending up to what I believe to be the best title in the franchise, released in 1992, Ultima 7. In Ultima 7, you take on the role as the Avatar, and you choose between either being male or female. None of this body type A and B bullshit. You then get teleported into the world of Britannia, and set off to investigate a murder in a town called Trinsic. Okay, listen, I know what you're thinking at this point. My god, this game looks terrible. But stick with me, dudes, and don't let looks deceive you. Ultima 7 is like that not-so-cute girl you took home one day. And I get it, sometimes we're all lonely. But midway, this chick whips out some grapefruit and just fucking... This game has more freedom than most AAA games released today. And I'm not joking. It's an open-world RPG packed with talents and dungeons, but has 0 loading screens. There's a night and day cycle full of NPCs that work during the day, eat dinner at night, and then go home to their own houses and sleep. You could pick up, move...
By the way, the freaking non-loading screens, perfect.
Interact with and steal almost everything. And if you wanted to, you could just take this person's baby here and leave it on the beach. I'm not saying that you should. I'm just saying that you can. Looting is awesome. There's no inventory UI other than bags, chests, and barrels. You actually have to move items from the world into them, and everything feels like it has weight to it. And because you have to manage the position of the items, it's hard to forget what you have. Unlike Skyrim, where you forget you've been carrying around some plate for half the game. Hell, if you wanted to, you could kill somebody, take over their house, and use it to store all your shit. This is one of the gripes I have with a lot of modern RPGs, and not just JRPGs. For example, I'm a huge fan of the Witcher series, and the story is great, but one thing I find immersion breaking is the loot system. The fact that you can just walk into some random person's house, and with a simple press of a button, you could rob them right in front of their face without any consequence. In Ultima 7, guards would immediately come kick your ass if you try to pull this off. Maybe this is just a preference thing. I don't know, you dudes let me know. The game is full of
As a Polish person, I would say no. But this has some personal things.
Random quests and unique interactions that you would never see in today's gaming. I don't want to spoil the story at all, but here's a small example. There's this cave full of giant bees that have formed some kind of symbiotic relationship with 2 naked people, and they eat the rats for the bees. And in return, they get honey and protection. When you speak with them, they have some childlike dialogue, and this allows you to connect the dots by yourself, that they were abandoned, and they have been here since they were kids. It's refreshing to see a game that has writing that doesn't treat you like an idiot, like the writing in Dragon Age the Veilguard.
So, I'm non-binary.
Don't say. Now look, this game is far from perfect. It has that old as hell feel. The frame rate is trash. Also, I'll just say it, the combat is terrible. You can only control your avatar, even though you can have a party of up to 8 people. And everything's based around auto attacks, except for a few magic spells. And I'll be honest, I've probably played this game for a couple hundred hours over the years, and I still have no idea how experience points work, or even group formations. And really, I don't care. Just run in and hope that you don't die.
こっちはレトロゲームのチャンネルじゃないしょ
Well, actually, I think it's important to let you dudes have an example to show people when they try to defend companies that barely put effort into world building into their games. There's no reason to let these companies get away with constantly releasing buggy half-assed titles anymore, when we have backlogs for days and a ton of indie titles to play. But the main reason I'm making this video is that there are 2 games that I've always wanted to get remade. One being Final Fantasy VII, which actually happened, even though Square Enix made a bunch of questionable changes. The other is Ultima 7. But check this out. Just a couple months ago, a dude named Anthony from Viridian Games is trying to convert the game into full 3D. And holy shit, dude, take a look at what he's gotten done so far. It looks amazing. And if you don't want to play Ultima 7 because of its outdated graphics, frame rate, and clunkiness, then please go show some support to this channel. He has his own Discord and a bunch of members are helping him rebuild broken assets. So if you want to help get this game out faster, go shoot him a message. And if you're watching this video and thinking you want to check out some of the other Ultima games, I'm going to be honest and say you don't have to. I mean, you can if you want to learn the story and like retro games, but you can just jump right into 7 without any issues. And there are a bunch of titles released afterwards, but they're just not as good as Ultima 7, unless you count Ultima Online, which was one of the first ever released MMOs, and still better than most of the MMOs that we get today. So what happened to the series? Well, just like...
Also, that's not hard. Like, the MMOs that we get these days are, let's just say, special ed class words.
Like BioWare, they got EA'd. Richard Garriott sold Origin Systems for $30 million in 1992, shortly after releasing Ultima 7, and it's all been downhill from there. I'm not gonna go into all the bad decisions made for Ultima over the years, but EA just said to hell with it. They turned the entire franchise into some cheap Chinese-looking mobile game full of in-game purchases. I can't believe it. Stop ruining our games. Now, as always, I don't like to tell you dudes what to do with your money, but I'm sick of all these half-assed AAA games. And I'm at the point that if these games are not on the level of Red Redemption 2 or Baldur's Gate 3, I'm not gonna buy it unless they drop the price or improve the quality. And it just blows my mind that a handful of nerdy, sweat-lord developers were able to create a more immersive world in the early 90s with a tiny budget, and you're telling me that companies can't do the same thing in 2025 with buildings full of developers and budgets bigger than some Hollywood movies? Get out of here.
He is correct. And by the way, you underestimate the stupidity of human beings here. Because people are... the people that actually made the games in the 1990s, they didn't do it... I mean, they did it for the money to a certain degree, of course. But they poured their heart in. They knew if they do something good, then it's gonna sell. And it is what it is. These days, people just want cushy jobs where they don't have to really work and just get their money for basically free. And as soon as they cry because their feelings got hurt, they just get some bonus for it to shut up. It's so pathetic, but okay.
Just shows how low the standards for some gamers has gotten. So if anybody ever tells you that your own standards for games are too high, just remind them that we had better games over 30 years ago. Peace.
Yep. Okay, it's gonna put, for fuck's sake, as always. This son of a gun. Love. I mean, gonna be honest, it wasn't as funny as the other ones, not gonna lie. Or at least in my opinion, but hey, it's still good. Like, it's still, V just does his timing and stuff really, really well. It's, as always, let's just... Oh, yeah. Now you can see that my writing skills just aren't there, but it's irrelevant. At the end of the day, but by the way, Acolytes, it just, V is such a freaking, like, legend here. He does such good stuff, and it's getting better and better. And the few things that you've seen, like this thing here, this is his new 3D model, or 2D, sorry, not 3D, 2D. He made those movements by himself, and he did a particularly well job doing them. Because at the end of the day, he does his work, not by himself. The 3D model was made for him. He actually hired some. It was just such a good idea from him. He can do so with his fantasy, with his freaking mind. He can do probably so much clear-cut, funny things with it in the future that will just support him. Acolyte, just freaking support him. And if it's like only 2 people that I can send over to him, just support him. Show him some love. That's it, Acolytes. Good night.